What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Riot Press Last of the Seekers warp drive. So this is part of the second season of Last of the Seekers, which is a comic by Riot Press. This was said to be by Patrick over at Riot Press. This is the first season comic, and on the cover here you have Max, who is the main character. And he was kind enough to send me this pre-production sample here, so we'll take a look at that in a minute. But I just wanted to show you this comic. They're coming out with a season 2 comic. There'll be some new characters, including some transformable robot cars. So I'm excited about that. But if you look at the inside cover, you'll see some artists here that you might know. Don Figueroa, Patrick, the guy who sent me this and created this line, and a few others. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool artwork in here as well. You know, he's an artist after all, and you know, created this toy line from this artwork. And there is, I'm not going to go through the whole comic, but there are 4 characters here on the back. Some of them were convention exclusives, but they have Max, Shadow Drone, Renegade, and Surge. And this guy reminds me of that Surge soda that came out a long time ago. And now we're on to Wave 2, or Season 2, which includes this guy here. By the way, they make some other figures too. Johnny Phantasm. And then there's also like a G.I. Joe-esque type of character, which I think they're working on. So you can check that out. Their website right here, Riot Press Productions.com. But let's take a look at this guy. Just a heads up, this is a pre-production sample, which means it's not final. It's got some tolerances that need adjustment. It might even have colors that change a little bit, but they did send me this so I could take a look at it before it gets released. It's getting released very soon in the next few weeks. But let's take a look. You got purple, yellow, and gray plastic, and a dark gray here. It is the same design basically as the others. The head is more like a shockwave style head. It's got the single eye with the triangle. I think it looks cool. If you don't like that, you can change it. I'll show you later the alternate head. Overall, it does look pretty cool. The color scheme kind of reminds me of Skywarp. I don't know if maybe that's where they got the name Warp Drive, but either way, I think it's cool. Let's go over the articulation. Some of the articulation, there are some loose joints on here just because it is a pre-production sample, which will be adjusted for the final. But the head is on a ball joint, so it goes up to there, down to there. You get side to side, and it rotates around. There is a panel for the neck. It's on a double hinge, so you can get the head, you know, way back, way up, and don't unpeg the chest, but it gets way up to there and way down, so you can kind of really get a lot of movement if you use that panel. Shoulders, the shoulder pad itself can move. The shoulder can go up to there. You can rotate around on a friction joint here. Rotation of the bicep. You have a double jointed elbow. This is a little bit on the loose side, but get it up to there. Rotation at the wrist. Later we'll take a look at the weapons that fit in those hands. You have a rotation here at the waist. Legs are on a ball joint, so they kick up to there. Back to there, out to the side, and then there's a little bit of a rotation at the thigh around that ball joint. You have a double jointed knee, and pretty much get the full bend out of that. I think the tolerance on that knee needs a little adjustment too, but it does work. You have ankle tilts. It's on a ball joint, so you get side to side. You also get forward and backward on a hinge. So you can go back and forth like that. And you can rotate the foot just because it's on a ball joint anyways. And there you go for articulation. If you come to the back, there is a little bit of articulation here on these wings. So you can kind of move stuff around and, you know, configure it differently. They're pegged in here on the sides. So that's supposed to just tab in there. As far as accessories, we get a few things here. We get some blasters done in this orange plastic. And they're sculpted well enough. Those will fit in the hands. And those do look good. You can also peg it in on the side if you want of the arm. So you can have kind of like a side blaster if you prefer that. We also get some swords done in that same orange plastic. And that looks nice. You can put these in the hands as well. Or if you prefer, these can be stored right here. There's a little peg on the back of this booster or whatever engine, and that will plug in right there. It's a little tricky because you know, this is a little bit on the loose side, as it needs a little bit of adjustment for the final, but can put that there, and now you can stow his swords on his backpack, which is pretty cool. Alright, another weapon that we get is his rifle, just done in a purple plastic, again sculpted nicely. That'll fit in his hand as well. I like that one a lot. I think that looks really good. We also get a shield. So this is actually the bottom of the jet. So if you open this up, you can kind of expand the shield. Look like this. And there is a peg right here that moves backwards and forwards. I think you're able to put other pegs here. And I haven't figured out exactly what these pegs are for, but I believe it's so that you can store this on the arm in different ways. There you go. So you can have a shield like that, or you can close it up, you know, make a smaller one, have it like this, kind of whatever you prefer. The last accessory you get is an alternate head done in purple, gold, orange, and gray, and it's just on a ball peg, but you know, I recommend a little caution. You just pull that off and then pop on the new one. And there's an alternate head. Me personally, I think this guy looks better with the shockwave head, but nice to have the option if you want. And for size comparison, there it is next to the Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. And I think he fits in well with the Chug scale. You know, go nicely with a retail collection. You know, just some additional Seekers at the deluxe, I think it's a deluxe size, maybe Voyager, but around that scale. So there you go. All right, now let's get Warp Drive transformed into his jet mode. And just another reminder, this is a pre-production sample, so things aren't final, but let's get it transformed. So lift up this chest. We can open this up. We're going to pull these apart, and inside you'll find the rest of the cockpit here. So you're going to get this folded out so it kind of lines up with the two pieces, and then you can close these back down. On the bottom here, this is going to come down and peg in and lock in that cockpit. Bring this down, I kind of detach, but there's two clips here that are clipping into the sides. That's what's holding it in. Open up this panel. We're going to feed this through. It's a little tricky to get the angle of this correct. Let's see, we gotta fold this over, but this has to feed through here, and that'll come through the other side, and that'll just sit right there, and then you can close this back down on top, and then later we'll take care of that, but that's how it should be looking. Go ahead and take these arms, we're gonna unpeg these from the back. Like I mentioned, these tolerances are a little bit loose, so they should tighten this up, but you're going to fold this gray part in, fold this in, and that's going to make his little engine piece. Same on this side, fold that in, and then rotate that back, and just sit that there for now. All right, this panel right here, we're going to lift this up. You can transform this with this on here, or you could take them off, these little booster pieces. They're going to end up back there anyway, so you might as well leave it. Rotate that around, bring this down to this side. On this end, we're going to rotate this entire piece back. You can close this little clip up. And then this will come around and basically go around this little circular piece. That's what holds it there. I'm not sure. Oh, this, and then this clips in to lock that in place. So I guess you don't need that for robot mode. I had it engaged when you probably don't need it. All right, so next we'll take care of this. And we're going to rotate these around. I have them backwards here. These should be facing the other way. Like that. Just leave that open for now. And we'll take care of the legs. Actually, you know what? Let's take care of the arms. So for the arms, you're going to open up this panel. This will fold in here and then close up. We'll take this, fold this to the outside. And I just have to remember exactly how this goes. And he did mention these are a little bit like a puzzle. You know, he intentionally has made it a little bit more of a complex transformation. Just for, you know, that's kind of their thing. But open up this little panel right here. That's going to become a tab. And we can do the same thing on this side. Open up this panel. Fold in the hand. Close that up. Bring this around. And we'll rotate this around. End up with the peg on the inside. Whoops. And then open up that little peg. And you can just push it through from the other side if you need to. Let me make sure I get this right. So this little slot right here is going to aim towards the outside because that's what this is going to plug into. So make sure you have those straight slots facing outwards. Go ahead and get this attached here. Then we can close this up and same on this side. Get the engine straight, get it attached here on the arm. And then now we're going to take these shoulder bits, fold these down, and then now we're going to use these two pegs that we opened up earlier to get these attached. So just peg those together. And this is another one where final tolerances probably have to be adjusted. But if you've got everything right, it should end up kind of locking together. Like that. You're going to bring this down. There's two little pegs here that will go into these slots on the shoulder pads. And then this piece here, which was closed for robot mode, you're going to open that up. Bring this down. And this will peg in right here. Now on this copy, I have a little trouble getting this pegged in perfectly. It starts to push it apart. So I think that's something that needs to be adjusted, but we can bring this down. So we should be looking something like this. All right, and the last step is these legs. So come to here and take care of these. Fold up your heel, fold the foot inwards, and that will just end up sitting right in here. Use the double hinge to get it collapsed into there. Same with this, fold up the heel, and then fold up the foot on that double hinge. Then we'll take the other side. We're going to open up these panels. And you might need a spudger or something to get in here, but basically you're going to open this up, fold it all the way to the other side. Same on the other side, open this up, and fold to the other side. Open up this panel here. And now we need to collapse the leg down. And I found that this was pretty tight the first time, so There we go. I got it. All right, so this leg is going to collapse down inside here. Make sure you get the actual armature folded in. Otherwise, you're not going to get the right angle. There we go. So it should be folded up like that. Right. On the outside here, you can just take this wing. This will just fold back and clip into here. Oops. I'll fix this a little bit later. But this wing should end up like this on the outside. So that's one side. Let's do the other side. And then on the front here, you'll see that these two panels, which you folded over, will tab into each other. So tab those together. Remember, this wing goes around here. This comes down, the head's going to fit right here. And then on the front, there's two pegs. They're going to go into the back of this front cockpit. And then on the top, we're going to rotate these pegs down. Those are going to peg into here. So there's two pegs here, two pegs on the back. A lot of stuff is holding this together on the front. So get all that pegged in. Get this front part pegged in. You have to kind of hold the foot in place as you get this attached, just because it pushes the foot out. Alright, so that's the front. Pretty much done. And we got to fix this just because it came undone. Alright, last few steps here. Come to the bottom. We can open up these landing gear. And they look more like sleds than landing gear, but they do have a little molded in wheel. Now we can set it down, and then we're going to bring in the shield, and we'll fold up these side pieces, and this will fit right here on the bottom. So you come to the bottom, these pegs will fit into these slots. You have to push this peg upwards, and once you do that, you can get it all pegged in there on the bottom. Alright, there's warp drive in jet mode, and it looks pretty cool. You got this nose cone or cockpit in the front. Nice engines here with missiles there. I'll show you that in a minute. It does have landing gear. It can sit on those landing gear. Here's the back. A little bit of a tolerance issue here. I mentioned that to him. You can fire these missiles. There's a button right here. If you pull back on that button, you can fire that missile. It goes pretty far, so just keep an eye on it. And then to reload it, just hold that button, and then it can pop back in. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. If you want to, you can rotate the engines and find a spot. And actually, if you come to the bottom here, there's a couple of slots here as well. So you could do something like that if you want. Have him flying around with his rifle. Or you can rotate these engines so you get this slot on the top, and then rotate the wing back. And then you can take one of these guns, or whichever gun, doesn't matter, and plug it in up here. Or you can take the rifle and plug that in. Actually, I think that looks cooler. So some options there for displaying the weapons if you want. For size comparison, there it is next to the Earthrise Optimus Prime. It is kind of a Voyager scale jet, if I had to put a scale to it. But it will work nicely with a chug collection. So final recommendations on the Riot Press warp drive. And just a reminder, this is a pre-production sample, so it's not quite ready, but I think it's pretty cool. You know, it's got some nice accessories, nice options. It does transform into a cool looking jet. It still needs some refinement in some of the tolerances overall, but I do think it looks pretty cool. I like the color scheme overall. I'm hoping to see some new molds and new characters from this season 2. I'm more excited for the vehicles, the cars that are coming out over the Seekers. I saw them in person at BotCon, and I think those are exciting. So yeah, I think if they tighten up the tolerances, I think this would be a pretty fun release for people who are looking for, you know, this scale figures. I think these are at the $40 price point, so you can buy these from Riot Press website. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested. Shout out once again to Patrick from Riot Press. Thanks for allowing me to take a look. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.